It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Dialogues with Dan, heard on Rockland World Radio every Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check out the archives, which you can access via the menu bar. And now the host of Dialogues with Dan, Mr. Dan Windheim.
Thanks, Richard. Hi, everyone. This is Dan, and tonight I have a live guest. I'm speaking with Diana Wilkins from the LGBT community. Hello, Diana.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
So glad you came.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
Yes. Could we start by you sharing what the LGBT community is?
Sure. Dan, as you know, I work for VCS, which is a local agency here in Rockland County. VCS used to stand for Volunteer Counseling Service. Now, because we do more than just volunteer counseling, they've dropped the explanation and we just use VCS. And one of the main programs that we run is VCS Pride, which specifically caters to the lesbian, gay, bi, trans community here in the county.
Yes. And is that a large community?
Absolutely. We would say that there are lesbian, gay, bi, trans people in every hamlet of this county. Yes.
So, did you ever figure out what the percentage of Rockland is?
No. I mean, there's kind of like no way to judge, just because if people aren't out or not. So, but primarily the most programming that we do, which we find is successful, is here in Nyack because it's accessible, it's easily traveled. People can get here by bus or taxi. So.
Yes, exactly. Could you tell us where VCS exists and where maybe LGBT exists?
Sure. VCS is a nonprofit organization, like I said. VCS is located in New City on South Main Street. They've been in the building, I think, since like the late 70s. And VCS Pride is a subset of VCS where we do all the LGBT programming. So we're right in that building as well.
I see. And their address, their number, phone number,
sure,
email.
77 South Main Street in New City. The phone number at VCS is 845-634-5729. And the best email...
website.
Yeah, the website... Well, specifically for the LGBT component, the website is gaypriderockland.org. For the whole agency, the website is vcs-inc.org.
Yes, thanks.
Sure.
And what does it take to become a member?
There's no fee. We don't have a membership. You could just sign up to be in our email list, and anytime we do a program or an event, you're more than welcome to come.
Oh, great. And I imagine you're affiliated with other groups around the state or the country?
Sure. We do a lot of community partnership programs. Some organizations that we work closely with are the Nyack Center, the Nyack Library, and then we've done stuff in the past with Touch, obviously, Candle, which runs the LGBT youth component in the county, Green Meadow Waldorf School. We have a lot of community partnerships.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so tell us, what are some of the issues locally and maybe globally?
Okay, so locally, I think, what we're seeing more and more of is the coming out of the transgender community here in the county. We've noticed in the past 2 years that the trans community is really pushing the envelope with the lesbian, gay, bi, trans work umbrella. So we've developed some support groups for folks who identify as transgender. We also run a support group for parents who have transgender identified children. And we actually just this morning did a training for the Spring Valley Police Department on transgender education and awareness. So that's probably one of the biggest arches of our work. We also do we also offer support groups for we have a lesbian support group, and we have we also run a monthly racial justice meeting, working together for racial justice. And then as far as other social service work, we do like I said, educational programs, so film showings and book signings and any sort of education that we can offer to help support the lesbian, gay, bi, trans community, and then also the other community members. And then nationally, I think the push for a long time was marriage equality, which happened, and which we're really grateful for. And I think the next push will definitely be gender identity and expression, which is the Gender Act here in New York State. So
yes, so those are a few to get started.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are many.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So what would you say makes a member of LGBT different than maybe Joe Blow or Mary, whatchamacallit? Like any other person.
There's no difference. That's
Yes.
the key, Dan. There's nothing that's different between
Exactly.
any of us. We're just all human beings.
Exactly. But you agree that part of the society has a sticking point or I don't like that, or they're stuck in their thinking.
Yeah, we would agree with you on that. You know, we are raised in a culture that tells us that being lesbian, gay, bi, trans is less than, and we have to work really hard to, educate people and tell them that that's not true. And that's why we do this important work. That's why we want equality and justice for all with no exceptions.
Excellent. And so I have seen things have changed from years ago, and they're still changing, and daily, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So maybe you could name some of the leaders of your LGBT group, or maybe on a bigger scale.
Sure. I mean, locally, there's been some really forefront leaders in the lesbian, gay, bi, trans work. Specifically, my boss, Phyllis B. Frank, who's the Assistant Executive Director of VCS. Joanne Goodman, who works for Candle, which does the LGBT component. Rob Marr, who's the Executive Director of Touch. Mimi and Jerry Goodman, who are community leaders, who actually started the first PFLAG group here in the county, which is Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And then also just acknowledging all the other great organizations that we work with: NIAC Center, Center for Safety and Change, formerly Rockland Family Shelter, I said Candle. The collaborations are just kind of endless, and all these organizations that support us really are the backing behind us in the forefront. Nationally, or I would say that in New York State, let's say, there's we have the marriage equality, Empire State Pride Agenda, Human Rights Campaign, or big organizations like that.
Yes. And so what sort of role did you play with marriage in New York is legal now?
Yes.
Did you take part in helping that get through?
Yeah, fortunately, before my time at VCS, I had the privilege to work for the Empire State Pride Agenda, which is another nonprofit organization that was really pushing for marriage equality in New York State. And I had the opportunity to be on the ground as an organizer to talk to voters about marriage equality. So I feel like that was a segment of my life that really helped me, grow as a professional and really push me into this work even deeper.
I could see that. I mean, none of my business, but like when you were younger, did you feel that this was your way of life?
Absolutely.
But I imagine when you were young, I mean, you knew at a young age that this was part of you, but maybe society wasn't open to this.
Yeah, I mean, people come out at all stages of life. We always know that we're gay or lesbian or bi or trans or queer. The important part is that we also get the same message that being that is less than. So working against the tide in that manner and really feeling like it's, to be safe and doing what you have to do as a person is always the best.
Yes. So I'm imagining when you were younger, it wasn't so cool for you to be you and be a gay lesbian person.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't cool, so to speak. But I think that we've made significant progress, and there's still lots of prejudice and discrimination and harassment that happens with our young LGBT youth. So I think we've definitely made progress, and there's still always work to be done.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there have been people who have, what's the expression? Carried the cross, like Matthew Shepard and countless others. And so did you attend maybe functions on far distances? Did you travel?
I've traveled a little bit for my professional career, attending some LGBT-centric conferences. This past June, we had the opportunity, my colleague Brooke Malloy and myself, as well as our director, Phyllis B. Frank, we had the opportunity to travel to Philadelphia to the Transgender Health Conference. And this conference really changed or pushed us in ways that was just simply still, at this day, I just say amazing. Just opening your mind to different aspects of service that you can provide, as well as learning and hearing the stories and the truths from the trans community.
So it even more boldened you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Every day is a growing, I think.
Oh, yeah, awesome. So do you take part in any online organizations, or are there chapters of LGBT that you take part in?
Well, as far as chapters or online groups are concerned, we specifically look to those national organizations just for guidance or information. Our focus is really local, so as far as chapters go, no, not really that I know, that I can think of offhand, but we do use them as a resource.
Yes. Yeah, you shared some exciting news that is it okay to talk about this?
Sure.
That you're at the beginning stages. Maybe you could share this news.
Yeah, so I was telling Dan before that we had a chance to talk that VCS has begun the beginning stages of starting a feasibility study to the idea of asking community members about how they feel in regards to a lesbian, gay, bi, trans center here in Rockland County, specifically in Nyack. So we're in the beginning stages of talking to community members and other individuals about the potential of, really making an LGBT center happen here in the county.
Yes, and anyone listening, they could get involved by going to the website.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is
gaypriderockland.org. And also, we're on the homepage for Rockland World Radio. I think you could just click on us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. Yes, so you had mentioned some leaders in the LGBT community. And could you speak about some role models?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few. When people ask us about role models, there could be a very long list of people that I might be forgetting. So Let me apologize to begin with about that. But definitely people that we look up to, like Harvey Milk, Sylvia Rivera, Storm DeLavere, Edie Windsor, Laverne Cox, Janet Mock, pioneers of the lesbian, gay, bi, trans movement. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch of people that I should. Matthew Shepard, Tina Brandon. I mean, these are people that have really come before us and fought for equality and justice for all, and we're right behind them.
Oh, this is great. I mean, it seems like it's being blown out of the water, this topic of LGBT. I mean, years ago, especially when I was a boy, this was definitely frowned upon. And maybe, the whole AIDS epidemic and prejudice, and it's gotten looser, or people became more flexible, and over time it's gotten better. And over your time, I'm sure you've seen movement.
Yeah, there's been significant movement. And with movement comes, that 2 steps back, 3 steps forward. And we're going to continue to do the work. There's such important work to be done, and we have to, raise up the people that came before us and really, keep the positivity going.
Yes. Maybe you could speak about people's fears or their inability or resistance to gay or homosexual.
Well, I think that we would say from the VCS perspective that we live in a world that teaches us that lesbian, gay, bi, trans people are less than, and we're constantly given that message whether we know it or not. So it could be unconsciously that we've been told that. So I think that uncomfortability comes out of that very specific thing that we necessarily didn't ask for. We didn't ask to be told in some subservient way that lesbian, gay, bi, trans people are less than. So
yes, and people saying it's an illness, or you'll grow out of it, or what have you. People have, since probably the start of time. Think about the start of time. This was a very popular thing in Greece, right? The whole Greece thing.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. I'm sure you have felt that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the most important thing is to just really remember that lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer people are here, and they're in our communities, and they're in our homes, and they're in our schools, and to just continually be, fighting for equality and justice for all, and really taking a stance to walk against that tide of being oppressive.
Yes, and I imagine this group isn't necessarily lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. There could be straight people.
Absolutely.
Part of the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, could you talk about that?
Yeah, we have, when we say community, we mean everyone. So we embrace all of community members. We need supporters and people who are, heterosexual people as well, as far as allies go, or supporters of the lesbian, gay, bi, trans community. We have to all come together. It's a basic human right to want equality and justice. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really blown up the last 10 years. All groups, not just LGBT. I mean, like every group is, the disabled. That's a huge segment of the population that's been ostracized.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, Diana, could you speak about maybe movies or plays? There are some out there that have championed LGBT.
Sure. Well, locally, VCS Pride has committed to doing an LGBT film festival that we do each year. We show 3 or 4 films in the fall and then 4 films in the spring. And they're all usually at the library, free of charge. It's a community program. So these are films that we sit down and talk about as films that have impacted us, that we think are important, that community members should see.
Yeah.
And we always have a discussion after the film. This year specifically, we have 2 films that are coming up that are quite special. The first is called The New Black, which is a new documentary that just came out. The producer, she has her name just totally escaped my mind. She has kind of blown up as being this prominent activist fighting for marriage equality in North Carolina. And she made this film called The New Black, and we have actually paired with Rivertown, collaborated with Rivertown Film.
Excellent.
To show this film on November 5th. And that'll be at the regular Rivertown Film time. I think it's 8 o'clock.
Yes.
And then the second one is a film called Just Gender. And this film is also a new documentary that's received some Sundance.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Publicity, and that's going to be on November 16th. That film is connected to the Transgender Day of Remembrance programming that we do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, so I imagine, or I wonder, how you all are funded. Do you receive grants, or do you get some monies?
Well, VCS Pride is inside VCS, which is the bigger organization. As far as the lesbian, gay, bi, trans specific work, we do not receive any funding at this time. Hopefully that will change in the near future. We're always applying for funding, but we don't. And one of the main ways that we do continue to do this important work is by publishing the directory of lesbian, gay, bi, trans friendly businesses that I was just showing Dan before here.
Might
which
want
is
to hold it up.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the old one, but this is what it looks like. And this is Dan. This is in print and online.
Oh, it is
as well, and people can access it on our website, which is gaypriderockland.org. So this allows us to do a lot of the programs that we do.
Yes. Might want to hold it up to the camera. And what's that consist of?
So the directory consists of everybody that supports VCS Pride. This is last year's book. This year, the new book, we had about 100 new advertisers.
Wow.
So it was double the size of this. It's the biggest one that we've put out. These are businesses, community organizations, and services in the county that want to say that they're lesbian, gay, bi, trans friendly. And we use this book to refer out to. So, for example, if someone called and said that they need, they're looking for a therapist, we would go to this book. and we would refer out using this book. So this is a great resource. We give them out to every advertiser that takes an ad, every school, every library, every community center, any spot where you could get any kind of service in the county definitely has copies of this, and they're free, and you can always get one. And like I said, it's also online, so
Yes.
it's 24/7.
Awesome. So as far as fundraisers or fundraisers, could you speak about? You might have mentioned a few.
Sure.
Maybe past ones.
Yeah. Generally, we do 2 or 3 fundraisers a year. I'll use Dan's terminology. We just held a concert that featured Ann Steele, which is her and her wife Kelly Carpenter are prominent members in the Rockland-based community, and we had a concert featuring Ann. She's a cabaret singer, so that was really fun. We had a really nice turnout. That was at the Nyack Center. And we've also done a few plays in the past. We did one at Antrim Playhouse entitled Terrace Crossing. That was a few years ago. And this past June, we did, the first time ever, we did a VCS Pride weekend. Usually we just do the Sunday event, which is the second Sunday in June. We do the Pride event, and this past year we did a whole weekend. So we had something happening Friday night, something Saturday night, and then Sunday was the big celebration. Saturday night we had a group called Well Strung, who are 4 men who play. It's a quartet, a string quartet, and they do mashups of classical and pop music.
Yeah.
So that was really fun as well.
Excellent. And as far as out of the county or state, you do partner with other agencies or groups?
As far as partnership goes, no. We collaborate with, we try to stay focused in county and do a lot of our work right in here in Rockland, because that's where we
Sure.
are. That's what, this is our community.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to spread yourself too thin.
No, absolutely not.
Right. And there's enough here in Nyack.
Yes.
Let alone, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. In our last 5 minutes, maybe you could repeat the contacts and members of your group or the agency.
Sure. So VCS, like I said, is a bigger organization, is the head organization, and then VCS Pride is part of VCS. Specifically with the lesbian, gay, bi, trans work, it's myself, which is Diana Wilkins, my director Phyllis B. Frank, my colleagues Brooke Malloy and Vanessa Green. The 4 of us really do all the work with lesbian, gay, bi, trans issues. And then our executive director of the whole agency is Sarah Goforth. And do you want to know the contact? Is that what you were asking?
Yes, please.
Sure. So like I said before, we're located in New City. The physical street address is 77 South Main Street in New City. And our phone number is 845-634-5729.
Awesome. So I could see you're very proud of who you are and what you're doing. I mean,
Yes.
It's all about being you.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Diana Wilkins, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, Dan, so much for having me. It was a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
This was fun.
Yes, everyone. This has been Diana Wilkins about the LGBT community and VCS. Have a great week, everyone. Peace.
Thanks,
That was
Dan,
great.
so much. It's
You're
been
welcome.
a pleasure.
That was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.